Hi everyone, and today I'm excited to give you a performance comparison of GPT-4 versus Gemini, the latest model by Google that is multimodal and is supposedly on par or even better than GPT-4. So let's do a ring battle between GPT-4 and Gemini. Of course, the Gemini here that we are comparing with is Gemini Pro. There's still Gemini Ultra, which has yet to be released, so I'm excited to compare Ultra when it's out. So at least for Pro, how does it fare against GPT-4? So I use the same metrics that I use with Llama 2, and I actually added on more because I wanted to challenge Gemini. So first, we do classification. The same thing, we have garden, mountain, sky, and classify the three sentences. And both GPT-4 and Gemini perform very well. So it's like, look at the clouds, they know that this is the sky. Flowers, they know it's the garden. And steep slope, they know it's the mountains. So good thing here. This is the same for Llama 2 and ChatGPT as well. So for JSON prompting, right, it also does similar to GPT-4. And this is, again, is also on par to ChatGPT and Llama 2. So next we have free-form generation. And we just want to see how good the generation capabilities are if we want it to generate imaginary text or some creative aspects of it. So I asked it to imagine a conversation between Sam Altman and Sundar Pichai. And in this conversation, it's not bad. I mean, both of them did pretty well. And yeah, over here we can see that the knowledge is still with Bart and not Gemini, but that's fine because they can update it later. So freeform is all right, but I realized something about constraint generation. And what I mean by constraint generation is you generate it with some limits, like for example, a 4-sentence wrap. So a 4-sentence wrap means I need to use only 4 sentences to generate it. And ChatGPT, or rather GPT-4 does very well. Okay, it got 4 sentences out, but Gemini gets 4 verses out. I tried different prompts and so on, and it still does it 4 verses. I suspect it's the training set that makes it to output in verse instead. So even if you change the prompt to be, give me 4 sentences or give me sentences, or basically modify the prompt to give variants of 4 sentences, and it still doesn't really work out too well. So this means that there might be some alignment issues with Gemini that needs to be fixed. Next, I tried to do something even harder. Each person speaks exactly once, and they speak only 10 words each. And over here, you can see that GPT-4 gets it well. Okay, all of them are 10 words. Sometimes I tried it as 9 words, but overall, the alignment with 10 words is quite close. Gemini Pro, however, is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 words. So it did not get this requirement out. And each person speaks once, it doesn't do that. Okay, there's a lot of conversation, definitely more than once. So I think this is something that could be improved for Gemini. Fact retrieval. We want to know factual accuracy, especially with retrieval augmented generation. So this is a very important test to see whether it can answer questions factually. So I just create an imaginary data set where, Tom has a cat, Mary loves to drink coffee, coffee is an aromatic drink, and dogs are man's best friend. And so the question is, does Tom own a dog? The answer should be not sure because Tom is only stated to have a cat. Okay, what's the name of Tom's cat? We also don't know, so it's not sure. Does Mary like aromatic drinks? Yes, because Mary likes to drink coffee and coffee is an aromatic drink. So there's a bit of chain of thought here. Who is Mary's boyfriend? We don't know. So the answer should be not sure, yes, not sure. And Gemini Pro gets it. Perfect. All right, so this is the same as Llama 2 and ChatGPT. So this is great stuff. Fact checking. Okay, so given the facts that we saw earlier in the database, I have a context. Tom's dog, which is not man's best friend, went over to Mary to drink her least favorite coffee. So here we have Tom's dog. Okay, this is not a violation of the fact because we don't know whether Tom has a dog, but the dog is not man's best friend. This is a violation. And Mary is her least favorite drink coffee. This is a violation as well because Mary loves to drink coffee. So GPT-4 gets it correctly. It's perfectly correct in terms of this fact checking, at least for simple facts. It got the facts that dogs are man's best friend and Mary loves to drink coffee are violated. However, Gemini, I tried over several variations. It failed to get these 2 facts out. In fact, it gets different facts like Tom has a cat. All right, dogs are man's best friend. This is correct actually, but this one is wrong. Okay, and also this Mary loves to drink coffee is clearly not consistent. All right, so this basically is some sort of understanding gap that Gemini has, okay, which also needs to be corrected. So simple math, I gave it a simple math problem and both of them solved it well. Okay, they did like Mary has 2 marbles, she gave 1 to John and received 3 from Joseph. How many marbles does Mary have at the end? Perfect. Okay, you should get 4 marbles. Advanced math. Okay, I tried something even ChatGPT cannot even solve. And GPT-4 got it right by using some form of program. Gemini Pro also gets it right. Okay, this is quite impressive. I suspect under the scenes, they actually have a calculator. Okay, or at least some code. Okay, I realized Gemini Pro also interfaces with code quite a lot, and that's a good thing because code is reliability and text. If you do text-based generation, sometimes you don't have that reliability. So a merging of the two is good. So Gemini is going in the right direction as well. Simple coding. I asked it to output the first 5 odd numbers, and both of them did it perfectly. So this is also similar to ChatGPT as well as Llama 2. Next up, we have advanced coding. So about 9 months back, I created a game in Python, which is to dodge fireballs coming from all 4 directions. You control a player that can move up, down, left, right, 3 lives, and your aim is to collect cupcakes, your score based on number of cupcakes. So this is a very difficult game actually, because a lot of elements are needed to get it right. And I tried using Gemini to code it. Unfortunately, it leaves much to be desired. It generates code that is kind of incomplete because it did not give all the functions or all the variables. And I tried to give error feedback. I copy and paste this back into Gemini to get it to output. And in the end, it couldn't get it out. So I had to actually do my own edits for this score thing because it got the global one wrong. Okay, so I had to do the score outside of the main loop and so on. And this basically gives me quite a negative user experience. But I got it to work, and in the end, the game looks like this for Gemini. So it is not much of a game. The logic wasn't really there. GPT-4 that I tested out today gave me, in terms of squares, like this green one is the player, the red one is the fireball, and the fireball only comes from the top. So that's not exactly what I wanted. And this is the cupcake. Okay, for the March version, it's much better. The fireballs actually come from all directions. I can move from here like that and like that. The player is here, and the cupcake is here. So all this actually, the code I can share, but Gemini's code definitely leaves much to be desired for this. Just a disclaimer, the images for the cupcake, fireball, and player are added in by myself. Okay, because these models don't generate images. I mean, they could, but it's an extra step. So GPT-4 wins this advanced coding. So tool use. So this tool use is a very interesting example I came up with. I just wanted to mimic a personal assistant. So the assistant can search, okay, and outputs the stuff in the file name in a PDF file. You can email a message with attachment from a user email to a recipient email, and you can set a timer to execute certain functions. So it's like a personal Alexa or something. You can ask it to do something. So let's say I ask it, find out more about Gemini, email Jimmy in 12 hours about the results with the message, is this AGI? And then I get some information from the person. I want to find out what's the list of functions needed for this task. And over here, we can see that ChatGPT gives us the functions needed. We query for Gemini, use Google Search API, file name Gemini Research. We attach this SAM to Jimmy, okay, and then we use a timer to send 12 hours later, which is 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay, that's correct. So over here, we can see that Gemini, sometimes they gave me the answer that they do not have the ability to process and understand. Okay, but sometimes they gave me some functions, like here, this is correct. Okay, and except the .pdf, you shouldn't have the .pdf here, because in the function is file name .pdf. So we actually just need the file name without the PDF. All right, then the timer itself, this is correct as well. Okay, but what they did not do is they did not do this email thing here. So I also realized something about Gemini's outputs is that it's very variable and largely inconsistent. So I think this might be the way they set the temperature or something. So that's something to take note of when you use Gemini. Okay, in this case, the Gemini I'm referring to is Bard, because they said they did infuse Bard with Gemini fine-tuned version already. So one thing I realized in the Gemini paper is also they talk a lot about, like, you use 32 samples or 32 chain of thought and so on. So this might be required because the output of Gemini might be very variable. And so we use majority voting to kind of make it more consistent, right? So this might be a unique trait that Gemini has. Good or bad, I don't know. All right, only time will tell. So verdict, GPT-4 I think is still better than Gemini Pro. Okay, but the saving grace is that this is not the best version of Gemini. So I'll try it out with Ultra as well and let you all know how it is. I couldn't find an area where Gemini Pro does better than GPT-4, but it definitely does better than ChatGPT and Llama 2, which is good for Google, okay? At least it's better than the GPT 3.5 Turbo. All right, so these are the things that needs improvement. The constraint part, it doesn't really understand the constraints that well. Fact checking, it doesn't really do the fact checking that well. Okay, identifies the wrong facts. Advanced coding, the error correcting for code is not that great. Tool use, it did not really do the flexible matching that well as compared to GPT-4. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the Ultra because when Ultra comes out, okay, they did actually say that there's some improvements, especially for like factuality, not much, because I think it's really quite good in factual stuff. Okay, except the factual checks that we saw. Reasoning will be much better. So I'm actually looking forward to this because I'm going to create a video on the abstraction and reasoning corpus and how GPT-4 performs on it versus Gemini Pro. And I hope Gemini Ultra will be much better because we can then use it to solve the UP challenge. Okay, so that's all for today's video. And I hope you found this useful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and see ya.